in the Batcave, the taped edition, because we couldn't do it live. So we're doing this taped, and we're examining today Batman Damned, the oversized hardcover. I'm here with my co-host Taylor Brown. Taylor, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm really proud of us because we're both wearing Batman shirts at the same time.
Right on, man.
Yours is definitely cooler than mine, though. That's a really cool shirt.
Oh, well, thanks. I got it like 3 years ago out of a collector's pop box where this was the coolest thing in the box. I can't remember what else came in the box, but those things were so hit and miss anyway.
Yeah, those boxes always kind of make me hesitant because you have no idea. You can get like a really great box, or you can get something where it's like, I don't like anything in this box at all. None of these things appeal to me.
Yeah, the T-shirts were all that I really cared about. And it was either a huge hit or a huge disappointment in the T-shirt, but this was a good one. This came out before the movie, and the T-shirt was better than the movie.
Yeah, I can tell. So this is probably one of the more controversial books to come out in the past several years, and I don't want to get super into the whole controversy that people freaked out about last year. We all know what we're talking about, right?
Right.
I don't really want to get into that because that's been covered to death. So
right.
We'll skip over that. You know what the big controversy is. So for the first 5 minutes or so, we're going to give our spoiler-free thoughts on the book and tell you if you should read it or buy it. And if you haven't read this book yet, please skip out after that. We'll let you know when the spoilers will start, and then you can come back later on after you've read it. Sound good?
To me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so I was actually pretty surprised to find out that this book was a sequel of sorts to the Joker book from 2008 that Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo did. I thought it was a completely separate thing, but it pretty much like starts out right when the other book ends. And I didn't know that going in.
I didn't either.
So that was pretty surprising to me. So this story starts out with Batman waking up confused and bleeding out in an ambulance. And he's able to escape the ambulance, and he finds out that the Joker's corpse was found dead in the Gotham River. And the question that he has to deal with is, did he die at my hands? Who is the one who killed him? And that is the question that he seeks to answer over the course of this book. So I would describe this book as a supernatural mystery.
Okay. I would. Okay. Yes. Supernatural mystery, because he wakes up and finds himself in the company of John Constantine, the unreliable narrator of this story.
And I really don't understand why he was in this story, to be honest.
I don't either. There's a lot of characters in this story that I don't understand why they were in it.
Right. This is pretty much a who's who of the DC Dark Universe. There's John Constantine, there's the Enchantress, there's Spectre, there's Swamp Thing, there's Deadman. Who else am I missing?
Zatanna.
Yeah, Zatanna's in it. And they're all kind of crammed in here. And there's not really like a cohesive story thread. It seems like a bunch of random ideas and random mishmash of thoughts. And just to go back a little bit, I had some concerns about this book before it even came out because Brian Azzarello is very hit or miss for me. I really enjoyed 100 Bullets, but I think that run was far too long, and there were some parts that were really not that great. I really enjoy Broken City and his Flashpoint Batman story, which is one of your favorite stories.
It is my very favorite story.
So I love those books. I thought The Master Race was very underwhelming, and he's written some other stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of, so he's very hit or miss for me. So I had some concerns going into this book, and unfortunately those concerns were valid because this book was a mystery to Jess and I. And I was greatly confused after I finished this book. And I was like, man, maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand that book. I guess I'm not Omar. I don't understand smart comics. And then Jess texted me the next day and said, what did I just read? And I was like, yes, it's not just me. It's somebody else.
This book, okay, this is the spoiler-free part of it?
Yes.
This book is well named because I'll be damned if I ever read it again, and it is a goddamned mess. Taylor's exactly right. Those Dark Universe characters are in there for no reason whatsoever. It's hard to tell if this is a dream. It's hard to tell if Batman's gone to hell. It's hard to tell if Batman's battling for his soul or not. It's hard to tell what's going on in this book at all. The only reason this book is selling is because of the controversy over Batwang, and it's not even in this book, and I don't care about it. That is the least of my
Yeah, I
concerns.
saw some people lamenting that fact, and I'm like, I really don't care.
I don't care about that. That is the dumbest reason to buy a comic book. Go ahead and buy this book and draw it in if you're so into it. I
Yeah,
don't
how much
care.
were people buying that first issue for last year? Wasn't it going for buku bucks?
Oh, when it very first came out and people got it CGC'd at like a 9.8 or 10.0, it was
Right.
like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, there was a bunch of like 10.0s even, which never happens.
Right. And those were going for like $10,000 or something
Did you
ridiculous.
believe this book was going for $10,000?
No, I wouldn't give you 10,000 pennies. I wouldn't give you 10 pennies for this book. It was a garbled mess that made no sense because you're never sure what's happening. He's bleeding out in an ambulance, and then the next thing you know, he's okay with John Constantine. Well, what happened to his bleeding out? Did Constantine fix him up, or is he on a mystical journey then? If he's on a mystical journey, why do we never see him returning to his bleeding out body? Wait, let me highlight you here.
Here's how it begins. Starts out with him flatlining and his heartbeat coming back up and him bleeding out in the ambulance. And if there's one thing you can say about this book, besides it being confusing, the art is crazy good.
And it's beautiful and it's presented really well. It's a gorgeous hardcover presentation.
And I texted Jess whenever this book, I got a big Batman haul this past week, and this is one of the books that I got. I remember texting you and saying, wow, this is a gorgeous, not just gorgeous book, but it's so well done. Just the hardcover, the slipcase up, and the dust jacket. The front is really cool. Like this, even the wraparound cover is awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful book that contains a really ugly script and a really ugly story. And it's really weird that it's that beautiful on the exterior, but the interior is so ugly. And I feel like Brian Azzarello falls into the trap of being edgy just to be edgy. Like I don't like reading an F-bomb in a Batman comic does not excite me. It just feels so out of place for me. It wasn't a big deal, but I feel like some of the story choices he made, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section, were way over the top, disrespectful, and they really turned me off as a Batman reader and really frustrated me.
Well, I know my fellow Omnibro Gabe said this book got rewritten a bunch of times, so it was not. Really? Yeah, that's what he had heard. So it suffers from being rewritten, I think, several times, which to me means that he lost sight of what he was going for, I think. Because if you read the back, it sounds like a really good idea. The Joker is dead. There is no doubt about that. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But whether Batman finally snapped his scrawny neck or some other sinister force in Gotham City did the deed is a mystery. Problem is, Batman can't remember. So who to set him straight then? John Constantine. The problem with that is, much as John loves a good mystery, he loves messing with people's heads even more. So with John's help, the pair will delve into the sordid underbelly of Gotham as they race toward the mind-blowing truth of who murdered the Joker. That sounds really straightforward and really interesting, but that's not what we get in the book at all.
And to be honest, I greatly enjoyed the first issue. I was like, that was great. I really liked that. And then into the second issue, I'm like, okay, this is still good. And it ends the second issue in such a horrible note that it made me so angry. And then issue 3, it's like, wait, how did we get there? And I don't want to talk about that yet. We'll talk about that later. But it started off strong for me. The setup is great, like you just said. The setup is really well done, but the payoff is horrible.
Oh, and we forgot the demons in this book too.
Right. And throughout this book, Bruce is pretty much being followed around by this demon woman girl, and you'll find out who she is later. This book was just a mess for me. I really want to say I liked it. I really wanted to like it, but I just didn't. And
wait, the demon woman girl, isn't it in Enchantress?
Yeah, I guess that's not that much.
You already named Enchantress in the beginning.
I'm sorry. It doesn't really matter. If you know what Enchantress looks like, you know that's her. pretty much,
Yeah.
whenever you first see her. That's not really much of a spoiler.
No.
But I just think this book is a big swing and a miss.
Oh, he
I wanna
wasn't even in the ballpark when the ball was thrown.
But I really do want to give a shout out to Lieber Mayo. I heard he spent 3 or 4 days drawing each page, and it shows.
Yeah.
His
The art
art
is
is
gorgeous.
impeccable. I want to make sure we're not bashing him because I really have no problems with the art. The art
No,
was
the
great.
art's gorgeous. There's no question the art is absolutely gorgeous.
He was let down by Azzarello.
Yeah.
And you're a big John Constantine fan. I had never read Hellblazer or much of Constantine. What did you think about him in this book?
Oh, it was it was so what's the word I'm looking for? It was just an ice cold it was not spot on at all. It was just a lame rendition of Constantine. His Swamp Thing was pretty spot on for the 3 or 4 pages Swamp Thing was there. Boston Brand, I don't know what he was doing in there. He just kept trying to fit into the scene and kept getting pushed out. The demon was I don't know. I think we might as well get into spoilers now because
Right. So bottom line for those of you who haven't read it yet, Jess and I can't recommend it. Maybe if you really still are interested, get it on Hoopla. If you want to use one of your credits for that, I wouldn't recommend buying it. I still plan on rereading it to see if I catch something else. I'm guessing I'm probably not, though. But I'm still going to keep it in my collection. I don't know what you're going to do with your volume.
Oh,
but
next Baturdays in the Batcave, something special is happening to this book.
Oh, so 2 weeks in our live show, you'll be giving a root beer bath. All right.
Well, you just gave it away. I was trying to leave some kind of tension there.
I'm sorry. I think everyone pretty much got what you were laying down there. But
I hated this thing.
It's so sad that a book this beautiful has to be subjected to the root beer bath, but I can see why it's worth it.
I hated this book I just hated this thing. I cannot recommend anybody buy it at all. Do not read it. Do not buy it. Do not waste your time with it. We're going to spend the next few minutes. It's not going to be a long episode because all I'm going to do is rant and rave about this thing. And usually Taylor pointed out in our text that I'm usually a very positive person and it takes a certain kind of book to get me unhappy. This made me unhappy.
And I don't like hating books.
No.
I love Batman. He's my favorite character. It's why we're doing the show. And it makes me really upset when I don't enjoy books like these.
Oh, I just remembered what the word is. Tone deaf. It was a tone deaf portrayal of Constantine.
Right. All right. So if you haven't read this book yet, this is the time to jump out and we're going to go over spoilers. All right.
I put that down. 13 minutes. Spoilers start.
So like I said earlier, I really enjoyed this book until the end of issue 2 when Harley Quinn shows up. And that just really made me upset. How did you feel about how she was portrayed in this book?
She was portrayed as like, I didn't recognize her. She was so over the top, psychosexually, psychosexually out of her mind that I don't even know how she could function in society. She shouldn't. I don't know. I didn't recognize her as a character. She tries to sexually assault the Batman there.
Right. That's when I almost closed this book and gave up on it when she's trying to sexually assault Batman. That just made me really, really angry because, Harley Quinn is a villain, but she still has a good heart. She still has a lovable core, and her trying to sexually assault Batman, that's made me so upset. Like, she's unbuckling his belt, and I showed that picture of her trying to undress. And like, even in the Joker graphic novel, she was portrayed as a stripper. And it's like, why are you portraying her in this hyper sexual way? Like, even Zatanna in this book, like, she must be walking around with a wedgie at all times. It was like, come on, just like respect these female characters that have been around for so long, and don't just treat all the women in this book were pretty much treated like sexual objects, which I didn't like. I'm sure Faria would not enjoy this book.
Oh my gosh, not a chance. And then it looks right after that scene, it looks like Batman's choking her out against the bat signal.
Yeah, kills her, I think. I mean,
it looks like he's killing her.
I'm going to fill in the blank and say he killed her because they don't get back to it at all. Instead, that issue ends with him choking her. And then remember what happens? He wakes up in a coffin.
Yeah. What's that about?
It's like, how did he even get here? And then all of a sudden, Swamp Thing shows up. Swamp Thing opens up the coffin and lets Batman out. And I don't understand why Swamp Thing was in this book. Again, Lee Bermejo did a great job of portraying Swamp Thing, but it made no sense why he showed up.
It made no sense that Batman goes from choking out Harley to being in a coffin. If this is some kind of journey for Batman or a fever dream, see, the dog agrees with us too.
Get out of here. Come here.
If this is some kind of fever dream or journey through hell or a spiritual thing, give us a clue. Let us know what's happening. He goes from possible real life to being in a coffin. What's it a metaphor for? What are we supposed to be experiencing? I am not a dumb guy. I mean, I had 4 years of college. I excelled at the top of my class in high school. I am a literate human being. I just give me a clue what I'm supposed to be understanding here. This is not Nameless by Grant Morrison, where I have to read 5 other prose novels to understand what I'm reading. Fine, I get that with Grant Morrison. This is a mainstream supposed Black Label book. Fine, it's for adults, but what the heck? We go from the top of a building to he's in a coffin. Is this some kind of spiritual journey or what? Because it goes on from there to the ending with the Spectre, and
I had to look it up. It didn't tell you in the story that hooded man is the Spectre. I had to find that out on Wikipedia. And so you have no idea it is the Spectre because it doesn't even look like the Spectre. The Spectre usually, I mean, he does wear a hood, but he has like that green cape and everything, and that kind of gives you a clue, but you have no idea that's him. And so, like, give me an idea of who these people actually are if you're going to sprinkle them in. And then his version of Etrigan was really dumb.
That
like a rapper. I mean, because Etrigan kind of rhymes when he talks, and he made him into a rapper, which is really stupid.
It looked really lame, and Boston Brand is, just as I said, shoehorned into every possible panel and making absolutely no impact whatsoever. I mean, if you're going to have Boston Brand in there, have him there for a reason, that he's actually doing something. And what was the point of having Enchantress? And then he's got the Enchantress showing up early in Bruce's life, making some kind of deal with young Bruce. And
so apparently Bruce died. Well, and according to this dream, Bruce was killed in the alley with his parents, and he made a deal with Enchantress to come back to life and I guess be a vigilante. Is that how you took that?
I don't know. Is that right? Okay.
I don't know. I remember you said, like, hey, I'm going to try to read Wikipedia. I still read Wikipedia, and I still didn't really understand what was going on.
I don't think a comic book, I should have to go to Wikipedia to understand it. That is just not... I didn't want to do it, and so I'm not going to do it, because and I don't blame you for doing it, because we wanted to understand it for this stream. But
see this book, see this page? This is where he has a bullet hole in his chest.
Okay.
And Enchantress is like mothering him back to health and saying, like, come with me, join me.
But she's there. She's all like corrupted and old and dying and stuff there. What's that supposed to signify?
I don't know. And then John's there shooting. I don't really know what's going on there either.
There's so many unanswered questions in this book that don't... I mean, give me a clue what I'm supposed to be understanding in this book. This book just frustrated the hell out of me, because it's just a bunch of ideas thrown out there without... it's a bunch of questions thrown out there with any answers, a bunch of ideas crowbarred in there, a bunch of dark characters thrown in there for no reason. I mean, Zatanna's nothing more than a prop. Harley's just... I don't even know why she's there, trying to sexually assault Batman, and he chokes her to death and ends up in a pine box. And Bruce's family, Thomas Wayne is cheating on his wife.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that?
I didn't feel good about it. The girl that he's cheating with doesn't even call Thomas Wayne by his name. He calls him something else. Doesn't he?
I wouldn't have minded that in most other books, because, I mean, in an Elseworlds book, because I get it. It's a different take on it. But I didn't really understand why they were showing that. It didn't contribute to the story at all.
It didn't.
It was a random subplot that didn't go anywhere. And there's
Yeah.
that one scene where his parents have this huge fight, and Bruce gets really upset, and he walks in on his mom, and he points this cap gun at her and like shoots her pretty much because he's mad at her because he thinks she's the reason why his dad left. And she says, "Bruce, promise me you'll never do that again. You'll never point a gun at anyone, no matter how desperate you feel. Promise me, Bruce." I was like, why was that in there? It made no sense.
I I don't know, and I'm trying to get to the scene where he encounters his dad on a bridge or something with the mistress, and the mistress calls the dad the wrong name. He doesn't even call him Thomas.
And Bruce almost falls off the bridge. Is that what you're talking about? His
look, Tommy. Oh, okay, Tommy. Okay, yeah. The kid falls off the bridge. Okay, he calls him Tommy. Okay, that's fine.
At what point did you realize this book was going in a bad direction? Did you ever enjoy this book at any point while you were reading it? Like, were you kind of like me, where you
when Enchantress shows up is when I stopped enjoying it.
Okay, so pretty early on to some degree.
Pretty early on.
So I'm still kind of processing this book, and I do want to reread it down the road. I just feel like it's unnecessarily confusing for no reason. Like we also want to ask this question: how readable and clear should a comic book be? Like, I had to go to Wikipedia and figure this out. I went to like Comic Historian or Comics Explained and watched their video to kind of get an idea of what was going on. Like, should we have to do that as comic book readers?
Unless your name's Grant Morrison, I don't think you should have to do that because his stories are cohesive and have an underlying theme that go with them, that if you're a careful reader, you can understand them.
Right.
This thing had a bunch of mishmash thrown in it that made no sense whatsoever. And it was, and then at the end of the book, he wishes Joker were alive.
I really didn't understand that at all. Like, what was going on? Like, he's pretty much being confronted by the Spectre.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I wish the Joker was still alive." And all of a sudden, Batman disappears from the morgue. And then we're taken back to the bridge where the Joker fell off at the end of the Joker graphic novel. And he's alive after he falls in the water. And it's almost like the end of the Killing. It's almost like the Killing Joke, that panel right there. That's kind of a callback to the Killing Joke when he became the Joker in that version of his own origin story.
And so is Batman back in the ambulance bleeding out?
And then, remember how it starts off with the flat line?
Yeah.
And it ends with that, but it's ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And so, does that mean he's still alive? I guess the Joker's still like. But was this all a dream in Batman's mind, or did he actually contribute to going back in time and having the Joker be saved? Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I just don't understand what the point of that was. What did he actually change anything? Or is this just a dream he had while he's in the ambulance? I just have no idea what's going on.
Or did he kill the Joker and Constantine took him on a tour of his soul and he realizes he made a mistake, right, and he wished him back alive through the Spectre, and the Spectre brought him back to life. You shouldn't have to work this hard I don't want to say anything against comic books, because I think comic books are an incredible art form that can tell amazing stories, but it's up to the writer to include us in the story. And as far as I'm concerned, Azzarello did not include us in the story. He threw a bunch of things against the wall and just wrote about them and shoved a bunch of unnecessary characters in there, didn't flesh it out, made it confusing, never really wrote a cohesive story together, and kept us guessing the whole time.
Yeah. And Jess and I aren't against ambiguous endings. I like ambiguous endings.
Oh, no, yeah. Well,
we reviewed The Black Mirror like 2 months ago, and that ends on a very ambiguous note. And it makes you it's a really satisfying ending. This was a very unsatisfying ending in every way possible, because it wasn't like, oh, I can fill in the blanks in my own mind. Instead, it was what in the world happened at all in the entire book. You know what I mean? I'm fine with filling in the blanks myself. I don't even know. I just have no clue what happened. Like, no clue, no idea. I was so upset. And the difference between this and Grant Morrison's run, I view Grant Morrison's run as like a PhD level Batman, like I said before.
Yeah.
And if you put a lot of work into it, you'll get a lot out of it. If you put a lot of work into this book, you'll get nothing out of it. I have the sneaking suspicion that whenever I read it again, it's not going to make any more sense to me than the first time. And like Grant Morrison's run, I read it a couple years ago, like I said in a previous video, and I didn't really get it. But as a Batman fan with a couple books under his belt, I really understand it now.
Yeah.
And it's much more enjoyable. You to somewhat understand the Silver Age, like the Batman of Zor-Nar, Robin Dies at Dawn, things like that. And that makes it a more richer experience. This book wouldn't be a richer experience no matter what you did.
I really don't think it's fair to have to go to Wikipedia or to look at other videos to have it explained. I mean, a comic book should be self-explanatory. A comic book can be a rich, satisfying, well-told experience, and still be self-explanatory. You don't have to, and you can make your readers, as you said, fill in the blanks themselves. It doesn't have to hold your hand.
Right.
It doesn't have to be 9 pages of expository, stuff like in the 60s. It doesn't have to explain everything to you. Just give us a clue and let us follow along on what your goal is. Just give me an idea of what it's supposed to mean that Batman went from killing Harley to being in a coffin. Does that mean he killed Harley and he's now buried alive because he took a life? Okay,
wow.
Well, how'd Swamp Thing get there, and why was Constantine just sitting above ground, and how come Enchantress is there? What the hell?
His editor must have taken like a day off or something when this shit came onto his desk or something, because this desperately needed a really good editor. And this must have really bummed you out more than me, Jess, because you love Brian Azzarello's Batman stuff.
I do. I really do. I was so here's part of the problem. I was so looking forward to this because I do like Azzarello's Batman. I had the bar set really high, and
people really hyped it up too, I thought. I mean, there were detractors, but I thought for the most part it seemed pretty positive.
I don't know. I didn't really read anything about it going in. I just knew about the controversy, but
right.
The more we talk about it, the more I kind of get what he was going for. He just never helped us along. He never helps the reader along to clue us in. It probably needed to be a little bit longer so we could kind of fit some stuff in there that would just kind of guide our hand. Instead, it's we always say that, books are 2 issues too long, or this thing was too long and needed to be edited down. I think this thing was too short. It could have needed, it could have had some more just gentle hints of what we were actually observing, like where it was actually going. And I can just see the comments now, you guys are idiots. He's damned because it was his trip through hell because he took Joker's life and Spectre's there to give it back to him and stuff. Well, it wasn't obvious to us, and we think it was a big mishmash of junk.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been a Batman fan for over 20-some years. You've been a Batman fan for even longer than that.
50+ years.
I don't want to try to guess.
50+.
And again, this show is always our opinion. And if you have a different opinion, that's great. I hope you enjoyed this book. I mean, I don't want you to not enjoy anything. If you like this book, that's great. I wish I enjoyed it. I just didn't. And so if you did enjoy it, I'm really happy for you. And please post in the comments why you enjoyed it.
Yeah, you don't
'Cause
need to
I really
attack
want to know
us
why.
because you're attacking the book. If you
Right.
enjoyed it, we're not attacking you.
Yeah, we're not saying you're stupid if you like this book. I'm glad that you liked this book if you did. I just didn't
Right.
enjoy it myself, and I really wanted to enjoy it. Like I said, I don't spend money on books hoping that I'll hate them.
That's a really good point. We buy books because we want to love them. We love comic books and we want to love them. It gives me no joy to rip into this thing because I wanted to love it.
Right.
And I hated it. And so don't take it personally if you loved it. And um, it's not an attack on you guys because we love comic books and we love Batman and we really wanted to love this book.
And if you made a bunch of money off the single issues, good for you.
And if you spent 10 grand on the first issue, I'm sorry for you.
Yikes. Man. Well, I think we
Okay.
pretty well covered it.
I think so.
Yeah, so bottom line, this book was overall a messed up slog that was very hollow at its core. It didn't really accomplish very much. I'm very unclear as to what even happened in the book and also what the message of the book really was. I think what was presented in issue 1 isn't what was accomplished in issue number 3. And like you said, I think it could have been much more streamlined if an editor had gone in and said, you can't do that, don't do that, add this, make it much more understandable, or if he had added another issue or two, that would have really helped. But as it is, I can't endorse this book, and I would encourage you not to buy it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I want to be spoon-fed anything. I just give me a couple of clues as to where we're going. Don't spoon feed me. I don't need my hand held. Just give me a general sense of where we're headed. Just a general sense.
And again, if you like this book, that's great for you. Please let us know in the comments why you liked it, because we would love to hear from you about it.
Yeah.
And so in 2 weeks, we'll be doing a live show. We're finally back to the live format. And Jess is going to be burning through the Metal books and also reading The Batman Who Laughs. And then we're going to be talking about Metal and The Batman Who Laughs on the live show.
Right on.
So Jess has a big readathon ahead of him.
I do.
Like 6 books, right?
Yeah.
I'm really hoping you like that one, because that'd be a bummer if you had 2 videos in a row we didn't like what we read.
I'm sure I will. I'm very, very interested in Metal.
We both had to have a palate cleanser after Batman Damned.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I read Castle in the Stars.
So apparently Jess will have a nice surprise for us in the next episode as well, even though I kind of ruined it.
No, that's all right. Everybody knows what's coming.
All right, guys. So join us in 2 weeks on October 5th for our Metal and Batman Who Laugh show.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button. Unless you hate us now at this point, please subscribe, and we're always interested in your comments. So peace and love. See you guys.